Hey, General, it's a big risk for Hezbollah. They got 100,000 rockets, but they know that right now the gloves are off for Israel in a way they haven't been in the past because the world community would have given them too hard a time. But now they've been attacked at such a level. This could be the moment where Hezbollah pays the price and feels Israel's full wrath.
Well, don't forget that the United States is still supporting the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So we're depleted on their munitions. So Israel can't do this alone. They're depending on the U.S. for support. We're tied down in other places. And I think this is part of a broader strategy by China, Iran, and Russia to really overwhelm the ability of the U.S. to respond.
So you really think that China and Russia and Iran have communicated on some level and said, pull the trigger?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because they want to basically take down the West. And the best way to take down the West is take down the ability for the United States to defend their allies and partners. And I think when you overwhelm our ability to respond with munitions logistically, I think you're really taking us to the limit. And I think there's going to be other shoes to drop.
Lavrov did meet with Hamas leaders over in Russia, but Russia did lose 16 people, we understand, in the October 7th attacks. So, Commander, we have our aircraft carriers. We have a naval presence right here. If Hezbollah starts coming in and starts bombing, do we send some Tomahawks into Lebanon?
Brian, I think that the tactical situation is going to drive it at the time. If we feel that the actual existence of Israel is going to be threatened because Hezbollah is opening up a northern front war, I think you would see some deep discussions by the Biden administration with Netanyahu as to whether or not they actually need the U.S. to go in. Let's not forget that while we are going after terrorist organizations, and Hezbollah is far more sophisticated and more well-armed than Hamas, at the end of the day, what we're really missing is the true target. And that is we're going to have to at some point address what Iran is doing. It doesn't need to be kinetic, but at this point, certainly sanctions ought to be put back into place. Right. The snapback and the JCPOA should be considered gone. And at this point, hold the ultimate cause of all of this, Iran, accountable for what they've done.
You know what's kind of good, General, I find heartening? It's kind of blurring the lines of politics. I saw Senator Schumer, who's leading a delegation, bipartisan delegation to Israel, say the $6 billion is dead. They will never touch a penny of it. That's very similar to a Republican saying should never have happened. So this administration is finding itself really isolated in this whole reapproachment with Iran over the last 2.5 years.
Well, don't forget that Schumer was just in China shaking Xi's hand. And if you look at the propaganda coming out of China and Russia, they're in support of Iran. So Iran's not alone in this issue. And so, when you think of Hamas, go to Iran. If you think of Iran, go to China and then Russia. You've got a big problem that's bigger than just the Middle East.
And just real quick, you said something early on. There's another wrinkle to this. What would be next in your mind?
I think it's either going to be Korea or it's going to be Taiwan.
And they would make a move now. Are you worried that we've left ourselves too vulnerable by moving a third aircraft carrier to the Gulf?
Well, it's not just that, Brian. It's all the munitions that we spent in Ukraine. I mean, it's going to take us years, possibly decades to rebuild. And now we've got another war to support. So just think what happens if we have a third one.
General, great point. Something to think about. And I hope somebody in the Pentagon is thinking as forward as you are. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.